So I just wanted to answer an age-old question about, is a radar detector worth the money? So there's a couple different aspects here to think about and a couple things to consider before buying a radar detector. And if you guys like this video, I will probably go ahead and make a review of the radar detectors I have. So a little bit of background is I probably bought my first radar detector, which is this guy right here, the Escort 9500 IX. Here's the original box. I got this guy back when I first started driving, and I came across the same, question, well, is it worth the money? At the time, this was $450. Now you can buy one of these, the 9500 IX for, I think, $299, something like that. Maybe on sale for a little bit cheaper. But I was, back when I first was looking for a radar detector, I wanted to know, was it worth it? Everyone had mixed reviews, so I just bought one for myself. So I've had this one for since 2013, so I guess 7 years now. And then I bought this one the Passport Escort Max. About 4 years ago, just so I didn't have to keep changing around in the cars. You can hardwire them, and they normally come with like a nice little push button to where you can silence it and you don't have to keep reaching up in the dash. So with radar detectors, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. If you're going to buy a cheap radar detector, it is not worth the money at all, no matter what you do. If you're going to spend under, I would say, $200 on a radar detector, save your money. With them, they might work to a certain extent, but after a while, dang, my window's down, and it's been down. Sorry. Took me off topic. I need to put that window up. If you're going to buy a radar detector under $200, it's probably not going to get you or be very effective to where it's going to help you get out of tickets. A lot of people that buy radar detectors normally speed. I don't really speed that much anymore, but back when I first got my license, I did speed sometimes. All of us have our wild days, so that's what I really bought one for. And with the cheaper radar detectors, you find yourself where it doesn't give you enough range to really detect, a police officer running K-band, K-band, X-band, and it doesn't give you enough time to slow down. So that takes me to my next thing. When you go ahead and buy a little bit of a beefier radar detector, the range extends greatly. So I don't know the exact range, but I know this one in a straight line, keyword straight line, it'll pick up a radar signal up to a mile. So in reality, or in theory, if you are on a road that's straight, you can pick up a police officer about a mile away that's shooting radar. Now, that's if they're shooting radar. Sometimes cops don't shoot radar, sometimes they shoot laser. This does have a laser feature, but if you get hit by the laser, you're already getting pulled over. It means that they've, pretty much got onto your car, and pretty much all it does is give you a chance to think of what you're going to say of why you're speeding. Other than that, you're really just going to get the ticket. So if you're going to spend $450 on this guy, don't think that it's going to be, the be-all, end-all. You're never going to get pulled over again. That's not really the case. It will help you get out of some tickets to where it gives you enough of a distance to where you can slow down. But one thing that I have found about these radar detectors is you get a lot of false positives. A lot of times where it'll go off. For example, if you're on a freeway, there's many different angles that a police officer or something could be shooting radar, and this will pick it up. So it's not necessarily you just going straight or something in front of you. It could be something far out to the right that just picks up, and then you'll slam on the brakes. So it more or less is I wouldn't say something that is needed, as I actually rarely drive with a radar detector anymore. If I'm gonna go carve some back roads, this really isn't going to help me all that much. It does in some cases, but if you're going, over, let's say 10 miles per hour at a zero on a back road, and this goes off, you're gonna come up on that police officer really quick, due to the fact that a windy road isn't straight. It's up and down, hilly, left, right. So by the time this radar detector goes off, you might have a mere couple seconds to slow down. So yes, you could slam on the brakes, but then you look guilty, for one. And for two, it's only gonna help you, save so much speed. So over the years, I can't say that this radar detector or this one has really saved me from that many tickets. More or less what I like to do now is I like to look ahead of me to where I'm looking over and beyond my field of distance. So I'm looking at cars way in front of me that if they're braking, I know that there's might be a police officer up there, and then I brake from there. I don't really speed that much anymore either, but for long trips, I will put one of these guys up, but I find myself getting a lot of false positives. And when you're spending $400, you have to say to yourself, is it really worth it to where it's going to save you maybe once in a while? To me, I can't really say yes or no. All I can say is that with this radar detector, any of these radar detectors, they do have these intelligent modes that, use GPS, and this one has Escort Live, which updates, speed cameras. So what speed cameras there are. You're not running red lights and getting red light tickets. That's a plus. Secondly, it lets you know where they're having construction zones, where there's speed zones or speed traps. That's a plus. So those two features right there, depending on where you live, that's anywhere from $40 to $100 for getting those tickets. So if this saves you with that, I would say go ahead and get those. In DC, there's a lot of speed traps and a lot of red light cameras. Even in Laurel, Maryland, there's the same ordeal. Columbia. So if you live in an area like that, yes, this is going to save your ass. I would totally pick up a radar detector if that's the case. If you think this is going to get you out of, where you can speed all the time, I would say it's a 50-50. Like I said, if a police officer, 9 times out of 10, they're shooting radar and laser. If they hit you with laser, they already know what you're doing. They know how fast you're going, and you're going to get pulled over. So I would recommend getting a radar detector if you would just like that extra feeling of safety, where you think that, I'm getting a lot of red light cameras, or I'm getting hit with speed traps in my town. I would go ahead and pick up a radar detector that has those modes, because some radar detector brands don't have those. They only have, modes where it's really good at picking up K-band, X-band, Ka-band, and laser. So back to what I said, if you live in an area where it's flat, that will be beneficial to you. If you live in an area where it's hilly and curvy, it's only going to save you so much. If you're really speeding, it's going to give you a little bit of time to slow down, so maybe the ticket's not that much. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if one, you're in an area where there's a lot of speed traps, red light cameras, for sure you will save your money. If you do tend to speed, have a lead foot, this will pay for itself. $400, some are like $600 now, but like I said, this one you can get for $299, I believe. I'll have to check again, but it has the GPS mode. It has a mode where if you are around like a grocery store or whatever, it has it built in to where it won't go off, because radars that are at grocery stores that help open automatic doors, they will set these off, the cheaper models. So that's back to what I was saying with buying a more expensive, better equipped radar detector. You're not going to get those false positives that are really annoying. Even with these really high-end ones, I do get some false positives. So if you're looking for a way to get out of, tickets, this is only going to help so much. It's hard to say, because I rarely use the radar detectors anymore, only when I'm, going to carve some back roads with some friends. But I like to use Waze, that helps. And a radar detector is only going to save you so much depending on how fast you're speeding. I don't always speed, so I don't feel the need to use one of these anymore. If you have a lead foot, and you just want to, you know, extra layer of safety, you could get a radar detector and then laser deflectors. That would be my biggest recommendation to you. If you're just, you know, speeding 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, I would just say it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. I barely drive with this anymore, and that's really what I do on a day-to-day basis, is 10 miles an hour over. If you're getting a lot of tickets, a lot of tickets, and you just have bad luck, pick one of these up. It might help you. Over the span of a lifetime, like I've had this for 7 years, and it still works just as good as this one. This one was like $600 when it came out, so $200 difference. It's not worth it. I would just honestly pick up one that has the intelligence mode, where it has GPS tracking. It has the false positive detection. Also, if this radar detector picks up something from, you know, the same spot 5 times, it automatically marks it as a false positive, because there's no way that a police officer sits in the same spot 5 times. The exact same spot, I should say. Sometimes you do get that. But yeah, guys, sorry if I rambled or went a little bit too much into detail or something, or got a little bit confusing for you guys. The moral of the story is, I would recommend a radar detector to someone that is getting a lot of speeding tickets, who has red light cameras around them and has speed traps. This will save you and pay for itself. If you're someone that just goes 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, I would say just push your luck and don't buy one of these, because it's not really worth it. If you're not getting pulled over right now, you're not getting, you know, tickets all the time, I can't justify spending $400 on this, or $600 on something like this. It's probably cheaper now. This is like 3 generations old. I hope that helps, guys. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you have a radar detector that you really love, please go ahead and tell me what that is. I'd like for you guys to share and tell me your opinions and what you've noticed with using your radar detector. I have a lot of friends that swear by these and always run them in all their vehicles, and they would even say that it's saved them from a lot of tickets. But like I said, they more or less speed all the time and get tickets a lot. So it's just that extra layer of protection. A thing to note, if you live in Virginia, or I think it's Virginia and DC, I'm not too sure. These are illegal. You'll get pulled over for just having these. But keep that in mind. And like I said, if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll go ahead and probably do a review of both these models and explain the features of each and the pros and cons, and go a little bit more in depth with these radar detectors. And some of my buddies have the even higher model version of these. One of my buddies has laser jammers. So I can do a video on that as well if you guys would seem to enjoy that. As always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.